Okay, I'm going to try to do a quick video on my visual pinball machine. This was a 1979 Stellar Wars wide-body Williams pinball machine in its previous life. I picked it off Craigslist for $100. The cabinet was in decent shape. There was no play field. I actually got the back glass for it, but no boards inside the head, so I don't feel bad about converting this. Ended up putting a 32-inch LED monitor in it. I think it was like a Sanyo or some cheapie, but it was LED. And so I got a good picture on it. Built a speaker grill underneath it. I got two 25-watt PC speakers and a sub back there, so it actually booms pretty good. The graphics were, Creature from the Black Lagoon and Monster Bash, I think, is what the head is. I don't think this is all graphics that are supposed to go together. I took a third side art and put it on the front because it was a wide body. I couldn't find the right graphics for the front, but it came out pretty nice. Put new legs on it. The playfield itself is a Vizio 47-inch LED monitor. It's very fast, got a 170-degree viewing angle on it. There is a small gap. I didn't decase the TV. Small gap, and it's 47-inch, so I am planning on throwing some kind of bezel around the outside to kind of hide that, but it doesn't bother me right now. I'd consider the entire cab about 90-something% done. I got to put probably another fan in it to kind of keep it cool, but that's it. Here's a quick little demo of what this thing does other than being a visual pinball machine. I've got a iPad sitting right here, and I'm running XBMC actually, so I'm going to take my iPad and launch Remote, which is an app that kind of gets into my iTunes account, and my PC inside the office in another room. And from here, I can AirPlay pretty much anything I want to, like this Adele video or whatever. It's going to launch the Adele video, and should be able to hear that. I got a glare. I should actually close my windows in front. I'm going to try to do that as I do this. At least pull some shades to get rid of some of that glare. But so you can AirPlay almost like an Apple TV 2, not quite as good. It's AirPlay running over XBMC, so you don't get the synchronization that you do with, go to music. You don't get the synchronization. I've got a couple Apple TV 2s. I've got also in my house, I've got Airport Expresses, so I can do home audio with iOS devices, and everything's synchronized. The AirPlay capabilities of XBMC, it doesn't seem like it has the synchronization that the other devices do, so the sound's a little off when you try to do home audio and include this. But as a standalone jukebox or whatever, it's pretty cool. And I like that you got milk drop visualizations with Windows version of XBMC, so just playing a video, playing songs, playing music, whatever. I can sit on the couch right there and just kind of kick back and watch TV on this thing over XBMC if I wanted to, instead of being out in the living room with the family type of thing if I want to get away. So kind of also doubles as a standalone TV in this room. So what I'm going to do now is just shut off the music and give you a demo really of what the visual pinball machine was built for, and that's actually being a pinball machine. So what I'm going to do now is launch the front end for the visual pinball machine, which is called HyperPin. And what this is basically an application that allows you to load up all the different games on here. HyperPin is loading right now. So this is the HyperPin front end is what it's called. I can tell you exactly how many games. I've got 36 games on here, 36 tables, 36 different pinball tables. And the way you roll through HyperPin and pick different games is by using the flippers. The left or right flipper button will kind of roll you through this wheel and load the different games, or give you the option to load the different games. Got some really good games, got some kind of okay games type of thing. A couple different versions of some of the games, like the regular version, the dark version, but probably my favorite, Medieval Madness. I've actually had this game as a real pinball machine. It was probably 6-7 years ago, and I paid $4 grand for it, and I ended up making probably $1,500 when I went and sold it, and now you can't touch those games for under $10,000. So can't afford real pinball machines that I want any longer. So this is a great fill-in. This runs two different types of pinball emulators. One's called Visual Pinball, one's called Future Pinball. I like the Visual Pinball better because I think the physics are much more realistic, and I think they're very realistic, to be honest with you. Future Pinball, the graphics are better, in my opinion, but the gameplay, you don't get the real sense that you're playing a pinball machine, where, you know, I can play Medieval Madness on here, and it seems to me, I haven't played the real pin in probably a few years, but it seems very close to the original game. Inside this pinball machine, I've actually installed what are called contactors, and those are basically switches that, or solenoids that, when they're energized, they make a thud. So, and that actually interfaces with Visual Pinball. It's going to kind of go through a screensaver right now, so some of the different games, Avatar, a lot of games on here actually, but give you kind of a sample. I'll just load up Medieval Madness on here to kind of show you what it does. That's actually, and this had a plunger on it. I bound it over the plunger hole, put just a launch ball button, a couple different buttons. You know, from the front panel here, I can completely control Hyperpin. So, but I'll just launch Medieval Madness with the launch ball button, and right now it's actually loading the game. So it takes Visual Pinball just a few seconds, and now Medieval Madness is loaded up, and it actually plays off a real ROM. So it goes through the testing, and now I could actually start the game. It's set for free play right now. You can control it. You can make it, you know, coin play or whatever. But my start button will actually start the game.
Welcome to my realm.
So I've got a 2-monitor setup. A lot of people use 3-monitor setups where they actually have a 3rd monitor or a true pinball DMD up in there. The 2-monitor setup I think works good, especially for the space I've got. It'd be tough for me getting a 3rd monitor in here, and I don't mind the DMD being integrated into the screen itself. So this is Visual Pinball. The launch ball button. There's the ball there. I'll hit the launch ball button. Fires it up there. I really can't play pinball very well with one hand, especially watching on the iPhone here too. So it just kind of hard to get the real effect, but there's some thud and some banging going around when the ball hits the slingshots or pop bumpers. The contactor's energized, and it gives you a feel like a real pinball machine would. So that's just kind of a sample of what it does. I can back out. Actually, I just hit the exit button on here, and it takes us back into the main menu, the main wheel of Hyperpin, where I can now roll through and pick a different game. Like I said, it's got 36 games on it. Mainly Visual Pinball. I've got quite a few Hyperpins. Those don't seem to get played as much. They just don't seem quite as realistic. Visual Pinball is, they're both platforms are evolving constantly. It seems like the Future Pinball is probably a little more active than Visual Pinball, but there's been some strides made with Visual Pinball, so it seems like we're going to be getting some better graphics here shortly. Hopefully, is what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing in the forums. So, anyways, that's my Visual Pinball machine. Feel free to comment, ask any questions. If you're planning on building one, I probably, to be honest with you, and I already had the shell, I probably have at least 160 hours into this, from getting everything together to working on the cabinet, graphics, built a computer. It's actually an Intel i5 processor. I got 8 gig of RAM on this thing. I can't remember the NVIDIA GT660, I believe, some type of 2 gig graphics card. Some decent specs as far as the computer I built for this thing, and it seems to handle anything I throw at it as far as with the Visual Pinball. So this is kind of almost like a screensaver or whatever. It's kind of rolling through right now. It'll land on a game and kind of stop there, but you maybe call it a track motor screensaver with this. Cool stuff. Any questions? Feel free to ask me questions. I'll try to answer them as best I can. And if you're planning on making a Visual Pinball, again, it was a very rewarding experience. Took a lot of time. Still not done. My understanding is these are almost like a never-ending. You're always, once you get into Visual Pinball, you're always kind of tinkering and playing with it. Probably not as much as a real pinball machine. They take quite a bit of maintenance and things like that. It's a violent game with a steel ball bouncing around. You don't got to deal with light bulbs and things like that. But there's always new games you probably want to try to load on here, and you can tweak the games and get them the way you want to. It seems like it's never ending. But that's mine. Thanks. Have a good day.